I am so proud to announce my charitable foundation, the Timothy Sykes Foundation, and the goal is to raise over $2 million for charity to help the less fortunate in 2015. And we're going to do this by creating educational DVDs that all the profits from these DVDs will go to charity. I will not make a dime off these DVDs. The first DVD in this series is called How to Make Millions, and we have a special $297 pre-sale pricing, which is 70% off the regular $1,000 price. And this is a special pre-order because the DVD will be ready in mid-December, roughly a month from the time I'm making this video. You can go to howtomakemillions.com to order your DVD, and this is a 20-hour comprehensive DVD with all of the basics, with everything that I have ever learned about the stock market. It's not just me, it's also my top millionaire students and colleagues, because not everybody in the world is my student, and you can learn from other millionaires too. So I am answering all of my critics with this project. A lot of people think that I don't give back. Well, guess what? I have been donating in the past. I've given, $15,000 is my annual scholarship at Tulane. I just gave $10,000 to Traders for a Cause a few weeks ago. But this is taking my charitable giving to a whole new level. I really think that with your help, we can raise $2 million. And, I'm not just going to have these boring charity dinners to raise money. I'm actually going to do what I do best, and that's teaching how to make money. So, if you order this right now, your $297 will go to charity. And, I'm so excited to pick out all these different charities and really help so many different people all over the world. But more important than just the charity is the education. I love giving back to the less fortunate, but more importantly, I also love teaching. And some of my critics say, oh, Tim, you just teach in order to make money. Well, I'm not making a dime from this DVD. So now you see that I am doing this for the love of teaching. And I'm so excited because this DVD, How to Make Millions, it's a very simple title, but it covers everything I have ever learned. And guess what? Because I want to create more millionaire students. I have a few. I love it. I love getting featured on Fox and CNN and more people emailing me and being like, Tim, I'm so inspired. I want to be your next millionaire student. So this DVD is going to have everything, my research process, how to enter orders, the best brokers, the best software, what research websites and tools do I use, basic stock market and trading vocabulary, what are the best patterns, what are the worst patterns, when should you trade, when should you not trade, what kind of position sizing should you take, when should you cut losses, how do you plan the trade ahead of time, how do you grow a small account exponentially. I'm going to answer all of this, not just with me, but with my students and colleagues, because I am going to include never before seen interviews. And there are lessons from literally half a dozen self-made millionaire traders. Take a look at some of these videos. Get excited. Tell us about the $215,000 day.
It really was a very unique setup. I'd seen the same pattern over and over again, but the volume and liquidity. I traded Fannie Mae, and it was trading hundreds of millions of shares that day.
Just Fannie Mae or Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac?
I just traded Fannie Mae that day. That was the only one. I chose that over Freddie Mac because the volume was higher.
Cool.
Fannie Mae had gone from about 30 cents to $5 in 2 months. And in this span of time, it had gone from about $1.50 to $5 in just 4 days. So we had a really overextended chart that I knew I wanted to short sell. And I shorted it almost perfectly into the morning spike is when I took size. I had a few failed shorts before that for small losses. But those were only $200, $300 losses. And I knew that when the stock eventually cracked, I'd have a much bigger win than that. So I caught the short almost perfectly at the top. Didn't cover perfectly. I took off in pieces on the way down. So I did leave some profits on the table there. But then once the stock bottomed out, showed signs of bouncing, I bought some for the bounce. Played the bounce almost perfectly, sold out at the ensuing bounce high of $4, and then reshorted again into the bounce.
So you're just playing it like a bouncing ball, shorting the tops, buying the dips.
I shorted the tops, I bought the dips.
So one thing you will learn from millionaire traders is that we don't run and hide from our losses. We accept them, we detail them, we outline them, and we think about them incessantly. And then if we're good enough, we really look to help to teach others how to avoid these big losses. Check out my top student Tim Grattani after his six-figure loss, but he keeps things in perspective because he's still up over seven figures on the year.
Needed a little time to step away. Lake kind of kicked my ass a little bit, but you know, at the end of the day, I'm still here, still have plenty in the accounts. So, I mean, even though it was a very large number and a very ugly loss, kept myself in the game. So, I guess that's the silver lining of it all at the end of the day. But when you have a loss like that, you know, really kick your ass, like maybe you have your worst loss ever, maybe, I mean, it could be a number of things, but point is bouncing back from losses, I guess, is one of the first things I kind of want to talk about, because there are a few times I've been in the big loss situation or just in the poor trading situation, and I've had to kind of force myself to step back and take a little time, because at a certain point it doesn't matter how good the setups are that are still out in the market, or, you know, I mean, it could be one of the craziest markets, and it still was a very crazy market when I stepped away. A lot of the Ebola stocks were still kind of hanging up there a little bit, and I think they faded a lot during those 2 weeks I was off. But if you aren't seeing things clearly, then you just shouldn't be trading.
There's also lessons from Superman, a trader who I have known to pick some of the biggest winners in the past decade. He is up over $1 million in 2014 alone. Take a listen.
Want to look at a couple IPOs here this morning. LMNS was a Goldman Sachs IPO. It priced at 12. They were trying to price this higher, but it was during, I guess, a bad time in the market, whatever. But, you know, it bottomed out all the way into the 8s, you know, where it's been. And they recently reported better than expected earnings. Goldman Sachs itself has a target of 17 on this stock. They've got really nice growth.
And here is my first millionaire student, Michael Good, with some never-before-seen interview and footage.
And he'd been blogging for almost a year at that point. I read through all his blog posts, looked at all his trades, and I said, hey, this appears to be pretty legitimate. So I took the plunge. I bought a Tim Alert subscription and his first DVD, Penny Stocking, and I was sold. A few months later, probably maybe a month or two later, I started making money, and I haven't stopped. And I mean, I used to break out the profits that I made based on Tim Sykes' trading system, but I can't really do that because I've learned so much from Tim, but also stuff on my own and other people as well.
And Michael Good also gives some amazing chart commentary. Take a listen.
6.5. And it drops back down a bit and consolidates a little. I know it hurts to say something's consolidating when it's just for 10 minutes, but then it starts to go back up. Let's say, and then it actually, on this candlestick, it breaks to a new high of the day. I'm not going to say you should have bought it here, and obviously this is hindsight trading, but I say, okay, it's consolidating a bit here, starts to move back up right here after having slightly higher lows each of these minutes here. That's a good chance that it's going to spike to a new high of the day. So then you say, okay, I'm going to buy 625 here, I'm going to buy at 640, and I'll sell as it spikes to a new high of the day. My risk is 625, my potential profit is 660.
We've got lessons from Nate, a great trader who has made more than $2 million. Take a listen.
Might want to try to make $1,500, but what happens at 3 p.m. if you're only up $300? Do you go for that next trade? Same thing if you've got 50,000 or 100,000 in your account, or 99,500, and you're trying to break $100,000, and you just force that one more trade just because you want to get to that next number. And I've done it. I know a lot of other people have done it that I've talked to, and this is probably the biggest thing is people focus on that $500 or $1,000 a day. They don't do it, and then the next day they feel like they got to make it back, and they start forcing trades that aren't technical setups that they're prepared for. So stop comparing to other people. It's very Tim, great job, great presentation. He's up $800,000, but that's great. But it might not be you yet, and you need to stop, focusing on trying to be the next Tim, trying to be the next whoever, but focus on what got them there.
And that's awesome. So many great traders, so many great lessons. Some of the millionaire traders that are featured on this DVD think outside the box, and I love that because it helps you understand, really the risk and the reward. Take a listen to Greg, aka LX21, the most profitable trader on Profitly with over, 11 or $12 million now in profits. He is a genius. Listen.
When you started trading, did you have a house?
No.
Did you have kids?
No.
A wife?
No.
How about Bertani? He spoke earlier. Is he still here? There he is. When you started trading, did you have a wife? House? Kids? How about Nate? He's still here? Okay. House? Wife? Kids? Michael good? When you started trading, did you have a mortgage? What? No. Did you have kids? Were you married? Did you have a razor? All right. And then throw it back at myself. I did not have a mortgage. I did not have kids. I was married. So I have a little bit of an exception. Why am I asking these questions? Because I believe there are 3 obstacles. This doesn't make it impossible, but when you don't have much to lose, you have the ability to go for broke, to go for the million. When you have a house, if you lose all your money, the next thing you might lose is your house. If you have a wife, generally speaking, the wives are considered to be much more financially conservative, and they tend to put the brakes on the husband's aggressiveness. I think we can all agree to that. If you have kids, it's very hard to trade if you have to be concerned about money for their education or even just feeding them. If you're broke, you need money, and it's very hard to trade aggressively and put it all on the line if you have these obligations in life.
I'm also going to go over trades and lessons from other multimillionaire traders who you probably have never heard of. Here is David, and when he was giving this little speech, he was up $3.5 million. So check out his story.
To me, when I first started getting professionally trading was in 2008. I didn't get into penny stocks until late 2010. And my boss at the time heard of Timothy Sykes, and he subscribed to his Tim Alerts or whatever it is. And my boss couldn't handle trading this trading strategy because his bills were too slow in the over-the-counter market. And he just didn't like trading bulletin board or pink sheet stocks. So he gave it over to me for something to look at. And that's my main strategy currently is trading penny stocks or pump and dumps, and been doing me well ever since.
So when David did this little speech, he was up $3.5 million in just a few years. But now take a look at his Profitly graph. You can see it was going up gradually. And now 2014, he's just doubled his profits. He's made over $3 million this year alone. This goes to show you, once you have some knowledge and a few years experience, you can grow your account exponentially. So I know a lot of people who are making, $5 or $10 or even $50,000 this year, and they're like, it's just like a normal salary. That is the beginning. That is the foundation off which you build your trading career and your millions. Because once you learn to make $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, the next year you can make $1 million or $2 million. You can't find that in other industries. That is the beauty of trading.